Hi everyone. In this lecture, we will focus on measurement and evaluation in digital library management. As future information professionals, it is important for you to understand that managing a digital library is not only about collecting digital resources or providing online access. It is also about continuously assessing whether the library is functioning effectively and meeting user needs. Measurement and evaluation help librarians answer critical questions such as, are users actually using the digital library? Are they satisfied with the services provided? Is the system reliable and easy to use? Throughout this lecture, we will examine how data is collected, how it is interpreted, and how the results can be used to improve digital library services in a systematic and professional manner. This lecture is organized into 4 main sections to help you understand the topic step by step. First, we begin with an introduction to measurement and evaluation, where we clarify key concepts and why they are important in digital library management. Second, we will explore the main areas of measurement in digital libraries, including usage metrics, user metrics, system metrics, and content metrics. These areas show what aspects of a digital library should be monitored. Third, we will examine evaluation methods and techniques, including quantitative and qualitative approaches used by libraries. Finally, we will discuss promotion, assessment, and sustainability, which are essential for ensuring the long-term success of digital libraries. Measurement and evaluation play a crucial role in understanding the effectiveness of digital libraries. Measurement refers to the process of collecting data. This includes data such as the number of users visiting the library, how long they stay, what resources they access, and how often materials are downloaded. Evaluation, on the other hand, involves interpreting this data to understand what it means. For example, a digital library may record a high number of visitors, but if users leave quickly or report difficulty finding resources, the service may not be effective. Measurement provides the numbers, but evaluation helps librarians understand user behavior and make informed improvements. In this slide, we look at the concepts of measurement and evaluation in digital libraries, using simple and practical examples. First, let us understand measurement. Measurement is about collecting numbers or factual data related to how a digital library performs. For example, a digital library system can record how many users log in each day, how many times an article is downloaded, or how long the system remains online without interruption. If the system shows that there were 2,000 searches in 1 week, that figure is measurement. It tells us what happened, but it does not explain whether this is good or bad. Now, let us move to evaluation. Evaluation happens when we interpret and analyze those numbers to make decisions. Using the earlier example, if we notice that there are 2,000 searches but many users leave without downloading any materials, evaluation helps us ask important questions. Are users unable to find relevant information? Is the search interface confusing? Are the resources outdated? Evaluation focuses on effectiveness, efficiency, and impact. Another example involves system uptime. Measurement records that the digital library is available 99% of the time. Evaluation asks whether the remaining 1% downtime happens during peak usage hours, such as examination periods. If it does, this could negatively affect students, even though the measurement figure looks high. In summary, measurement provides raw data, while evaluation turns that data into actionable insights. Effective digital library management depends on both, collecting accurate data and analyzing it meaningfully to improve services and user experience. In this slide, we focus on usage metrics, which are one of the most important areas of measurement in digital libraries. Usage metrics help us understand how users interact with the digital library system. The first metric is visitors and sessions. This refers to the number of users accessing the digital library over a specific period and how long they stay. For example, if 500 students log in during 1 week and each spends an average of 15 minutes per session, this information tells us how frequently the library is used and whether users are spending enough time exploring resources. The second metric is resource access. This measures how many times specific resources such as journal articles, ebooks, or multimedia materials are accessed or viewed. For instance, if a particular ebook is accessed 300 times in a month, this suggests that the resource is highly relevant or frequently needed by users. Next is search queries. Search queries refer to the volume and type of searches conducted within the digital library. For example, if many users repeatedly search for the same topic, it may indicate strong interest in that subject. At the same time, it could also suggest that users are struggling to locate relevant materials easily. The final metric is content downloads. This tracks how often users download digital content such as PDFs, datasets, or videos. For example, a high number of downloads for exam-related materials usually increases close to assessment periods, showing how the digital library supports students' academic needs. Overall, these usage metrics provide measurable evidence of user behavior, but on their own, they only tell us what is happening. To understand why it is happening and whether improvements are needed, these measurements must later be evaluated. In this slide, we focus on user metrics, which help digital libraries understand who their users are and how they interact with library services. The first user metric is user demographics. This involves collecting basic information about users, such as their profession, location, or institutional affiliation. For example, a digital library may find that most of its users are undergraduate students, while fewer lecturers or researchers are using the system. This information helps the library tailor its services, such as prioritizing textbooks for students or research databases for academic staff. The second metric is user satisfaction. User satisfaction is usually measured through surveys or feedback forms. For example, after using the digital library, users may be asked to rate how easy the system is to use or whether the resources meet their needs. If many users report difficulty navigating the website, this indicates a need for interface improvement, even if usage numbers are high. The third metric is user engagement. User engagement looks at how often users return to the digital library and how much time they spend during each session. For instance, repeat visits and longer session durations often suggest that users find the library useful and relevant. On the other hand, very short sessions may indicate that users are leaving because they cannot find what they need. In summary, user metrics provide insight into user behavior, preferences, and satisfaction. While these metrics are numerical measurements, they form a crucial foundation for evaluation, helping digital library managers improve services and enhance the overall user experience. In this slide, we focus on system metrics, which measure the technical performance and reliability of a digital library system. These metrics are important because even high-quality content is useless if the system does not function properly. The first system metric is system uptime. System uptime refers to the percentage of time the digital library system is operational and accessible to users. For example, if the system is available 24 hours a day but experiences downtime for 1 hour in a week, this affects students who need access during that time. High uptime indicates a stable and reliable system, which is especially important during peak periods such as assignment deadlines or examinations. The second metric is response time. Response time measures how quickly the system responds to user actions, such as loading a web page or returning search results. For instance, if a student searches for an article and the results take several seconds to appear, this can cause frustration and reduce user satisfaction. Faster response times usually lead to a better user experience and encourage continued use of the digital library. The third metric is download speed. Download speed refers to how quickly users can download digital resources, such as PDF articles or e-books. For example, slow download speeds may discourage users from accessing large files, even if the content is relevant. Good download speed reflects strong infrastructure and sufficient server capacity. In summary, system metrics ensure that the digital library is technically efficient and dependable. While these measurements provide performance data, they must later be evaluated to determine whether the system truly meets users' needs and expectations. In this slide, we focus on content metrics, which measure the growth, relevance, and quality of digital library collections. Content metrics are important because the value of a digital library depends heavily on the usefulness of its resources. The first content metric is content growth. Content growth refers to the number and types of resources added to the digital library over time. For example, a library may track how many new ebooks, journal articles, datasets, or multimedia materials are added each semester. Steady content growth indicates that the library is actively expanding its collection to support learning, teaching, and research needs. The second content metric is resource quality. Resource quality involves assessing the relevance, accuracy, and usefulness of content. This is often measured through user feedback, expert review, or usage patterns. For instance, if certain resources are frequently accessed and positively rated by users, this suggests that the content is valuable. On the other hand, materials that are rarely accessed may be outdated or not aligned with users' needs. Content metrics help librarians understand not only how much content the library has, but also how useful that content is to users. However, like other measurements, these metrics only provide data. Evaluation is needed to decide whether the collection should be expanded, updated, or reorganized to improve overall effectiveness. In this slide, we shift our focus from measurement to evaluation in digital library management. Evaluation in a digital library focuses on assessing the effectiveness of library operations, services, and resources. Once data has been collected through measurement, such as usage statistics, user satisfaction scores, or system performance, it must be evaluated to understand what the data really means. For example, measurement may show that the digital library has a high number of users accessing the system each day. However, evaluation asks deeper questions. Are users finding the information they need? Are they satisfied with the services provided? Does the library support learning, teaching, and research effectively? Evaluation also helps determine the impact of the digital library. For instance, librarians may evaluate whether access to online journals has improved students' academic performance or supported lecturers' research activities. This goes beyond counting usage and focuses on outcomes and benefits. Another important role of evaluation is decision-making. By evaluating measured data, digital library managers can identify strengths, detect weaknesses, and prioritize improvements. This may include upgrading systems, improving user interfaces, or expanding relevant collections. In summary, measurement collects data, but evaluation interprets that data to assess impact and effectiveness. Without evaluation, measurement alone cannot support improvement or strategic planning in digital libraries. In this slide, we look at the main methods used to evaluate digital libraries. Evaluation methods help librarians and managers understand whether the digital library is achieving its goals and meeting users' needs. First, we have quantitative evaluation. Quantitative evaluation uses numerical data and statistical techniques. This includes statistical analysis, comparative analysis, and key performance indicators, or KPIs. For example, librarians may compare the number of downloads this year with last year to see whether usage has increased. KPIs such as system uptime, number of active users, or average response time help measure performance in a clear and objective way. Next is qualitative evaluation. Qualitative evaluation focuses on users' experiences and perceptions, rather than numbers alone. This includes user feedback, usability testing, and content review. For example, students may report that the search system is confusing or that certain resources are difficult to access. Usability testing allows librarians to observe how users interact with the system and identify problems that statistics alone cannot reveal. The third approach is formative and summative evaluation. Formative evaluation is conducted during the development or improvement of a digital library. Its purpose is to identify issues early and make improvements. Summative evaluation, on the other hand, is conducted after implementation to assess overall effectiveness and outcomes. In summary, effective evaluation in digital libraries uses a combination of quantitative and qualitative methods, as well as formative and summative approaches. Together, these methods provide a comprehensive understanding of performance, impact, and areas for improvement. In this slide, we focus on practical techniques used to carry out effective measurement and evaluation in digital libraries. The first technique is survey and feedback tools. These tools are essential for gathering direct insights from users about their experiences. For example, students may be asked to complete an online survey after using the digital library, rating aspects such as ease of use, quality of resources, and overall satisfaction. This feedback helps librarians identify areas that need improvement and understand users' expectations. The second technique is analytics tools. Analytics tools track and measure user interactions within the digital library system. For instance, they can show which resources are accessed most frequently, how users navigate the website, and where users tend to leave the system. This data provides valuable insights into user behavior, resource usage, and system performance. The third technique is heat maps. Heat maps are visual representations that show where users interact the most on a web page or within an application. For example, if many users click repeatedly on the same area of a page, this may indicate high interest or possible confusion. Heat maps help identify usability issues that may not be obvious from numerical data alone. The final technique is benchmarking. Benchmarking involves comparing the performance of a digital library with industry standards or similar institutions. For example, a library may compare its system uptime or user satisfaction scores with those of other academic digital libraries to assess its relative performance and identify best practices. In summary, these techniques support accurate measurement and meaningful evaluation, helping digital libraries improve services, usability, and overall effectiveness. In this slide, we discuss the main challenges faced in measuring and evaluating digital libraries. Although measurement and evaluation are essential, they are not without difficulties. The first challenge is data overload. Digital libraries generate a large amount of data, such as usage statistics, system logs, and user feedback. When there is too much data, it can be difficult to identify which information is truly important. For example, having thousands of usage records is not helpful if librarians are unsure which indicators should guide decision-making. The second challenge is user privacy. Collecting data about users must be done responsibly. Digital libraries need to protect personal information and ensure that data collection complies with privacy and ethical standards. For instance, tracking user behavior without proper safeguards may raise privacy concerns and reduce user trust. The third challenge is interpreting data. Numbers alone do not always tell the full story. For example, a decrease in usage statistics may not mean poor service. It could be due to academic holidays or changes in course requirements. Misinterpreting data can lead to incorrect conclusions and ineffective decisions. The final challenge is changing user needs. User expectations and information-seeking behaviors change over time, especially with advances in technology. A digital library that was effective a few years ago may no longer meet current user needs. This makes continuous measurement and evaluation necessary but also more complex. In summary, understanding these challenges helps digital library managers apply measurement and evaluation more carefully, ensuring that data is used ethically, accurately, and meaningfully to support improvement. This slide discusses the promotion strategies used to increase awareness and usage of digital libraries. Even a well-designed digital library will not be effective if users are unaware of its resources and services. The first strategy is targeted outreach campaigns. This involves reaching specific user groups, such as students, researchers, or academic staff, with tailored messages. For example, students may receive information about e-books and exam-related resources, while researchers are informed about access to academic journals and databases. Targeted promotion ensures that users are aware of resources that are most relevant to their needs. The second strategy is search engine optimization, SEO, and discoverability. This strategy focuses on making the digital library easily discoverable through search engines. For instance, when users search for academic topics online, library resources should appear in search results. Improved discoverability increases organic traffic and encourages users to access library materials directly. The third strategy is user engagement and training. This includes workshops, tutorials, or online guides that help users understand how to use the digital library effectively. For example, training sessions can teach students how to search databases efficiently or evaluate online resources. When users feel confident using the system, they are more likely to engage with the digital library regularly. In summary, effective promotion strategies help ensure that digital libraries are visible, accessible, and actively used, supporting learning, teaching, and research activities. This slide focuses on the assessment of digital libraries, which combines measurement and evaluation to determine overall performance and effectiveness. The first assessment area is user satisfaction and feedback. This area examines how users perceive digital library resources and services. For example, feedback collected through surveys may indicate whether users find the system easy to navigate or whether the available resources meet their academic needs. High satisfaction suggests that services align well with user expectations, while low satisfaction highlights areas requiring improvement. The second area is usage statistics and analytics. This assessment looks at how frequently digital library resources are accessed. For instance, usage data may show that certain databases or digital materials are heavily used, while others receive minimal attention. Such patterns help identify user preferences and support informed decisions about resource management. The third area is impact evaluation. Impact evaluation assesses the broader outcomes of digital library services. For example, access to online journals may support improved learning outcomes or contribute to increased research productivity. This assessment moves beyond usage counts to focus on the value and influence of the digital library. The final area is system performance and usability testing. This assessment ensures that the digital library system operates efficiently and is user-friendly. For example, usability testing may reveal navigation difficulties, slow response times, or access issues that negatively affect user experience. In summary, assessment of digital libraries supports continuous improvement, effective decision-making, and the delivery of high-quality digital library services. This slide explains the concept of sustainability in digital libraries. Sustainability refers to the ability of a digital library to continue operating, maintaining, and expanding its services over time, even when facing technological, financial, and institutional challenges. For example, a digital library that regularly updates its systems to remain compatible with new devices and software demonstrates technological sustainability. Without these updates, users may face access problems, even if the content remains valuable. Sustainability is also closely linked to financial stability. For instance, a digital library that relies on short-term funding may struggle to maintain subscriptions to databases or support system maintenance. In contrast, stable and long-term funding allows continuous access to digital resources. Another aspect of sustainability involves adapting to user needs. For example, as users increasingly prefer mobile access, a sustainable digital library ensures that its platforms remain user-friendly across different devices. Failure to adapt may lead to reduced usage and relevance. Overall, sustainability ensures that digital libraries remain reliable, relevant, and accessible over time. By addressing technological, financial, and user-related challenges, sustainability supports the long-term success of digital library services. This slide highlights the different types of sustainability that support the long-term success of a digital library. The first type is technological sustainability. This refers to the ability of a digital library to evolve with emerging technologies and changing user expectations. For example, regular system upgrades, compatibility with mobile devices, and secure infrastructure ensure continued access and performance as technology advances. The second type is financial sustainability. Financial sustainability ensures that the digital library has stable and ongoing funding to support operations. For example, consistent funding enables continued access to licensed databases, system maintenance, and staff support, reducing the risk of service disruption. The third type is content sustainability. Content sustainability focuses on keeping digital collections relevant, accessible, and usable over time. For example, updating outdated materials, preserving digital formats, and ensuring metadata quality help maintain long-term value for users. The fourth type is community and stakeholder engagement. This involves building strong relationships with users, funders, and institutional stakeholders. For example, regular engagement and communication help ensure continued support, relevance, and alignment with institutional goals. The final type is environmental sustainability. Environmental sustainability aims to reduce the digital library's environmental impact. For example, adopting energy-efficient servers and responsible digital practices supports sustainability beyond technical and financial considerations. In summary, technological, financial, content, community, and environmental sustainability work together to ensure that digital libraries remain resilient, relevant, and effective in the long term. Generally, this chapter has highlighted the importance of measurement, evaluation, assessment, promotion, and sustainability in effective digital library management. Measurement provides objective data on usage, users, systems, and content, while evaluation interprets this data to assess effectiveness, efficiency, and impact. Together, these processes support informed decision-making and continuous improvement. Assessment integrates multiple dimensions, including user satisfaction, system performance, usage analytics, and impact evaluation, offering a comprehensive understanding of digital library quality. Promotion strategies ensure that digital libraries remain visible and accessible, while sustainability ensures long-term continuity in the face of technological, financial, and institutional challenges. Overall, effective digital library management depends on transforming data into meaningful insights and using those insights to enhance services, support users, and ensure long-term relevance. Thank you for your time and attention.